what's going on? Welcome to another live edition of Real Fans, Real Talk. Apologies about the technical difficulties, but we are officially back in the midst of this Super Bowl, this football Sunday. A lot of games going down this weekend. A lot of surprises, a couple of upsets. But we're gonna get to all of that because we had a couple of big fights too. We're gonna talk about too. Canelo, he got that dub. UFC went down this weekend as well. And the Yankees beat the Red Sox in this weekend series. So I'm happy about that. But before we get into all of that, let me introduce my co-host, my brother, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games. What's going on?
What's really good, bro? You already know I'm happy and excited to get to it, man. We got a lot to talk about. Great week of fighting. New York baseball is right in the thick of things in terms of a playoff race. And it has been the underdog day. A lot of the underdogs have not only been covering the spread, they've been winning outright today.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We'll go to what it do. See you in the comments, bro. Let's just jump right in because I see the comments coming in. Shout out to Kyrie Thompson, first in the chat. Says Tua has no plans to retire after his most recent concussion on Thursday. He's a player. He ain't trying to go out like this. He's trying to keep playing. Dolphins got a very potent offense, so he wants to build on that. So I'm not mad at him. Now, is he doing himself a disservice? That's to be seen. But I mean, how many concussions can you take before you gotta say, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and sit down?
I mean, he's 26 years old, and at 26, we all think we're invincible. But this is one of those situations where somebody's got to protect him from himself. 3 diagnosed concussions in the last 2 seasons, really was 4 because that first one was never diagnosed. And we all know that once your cage gets rattled one time, these things tend to continue to happen. So somebody's going to have to step up for Tua and kind of save him from himself. But if they leave it up to him, he's going to think that he's okay to continue doing this. He's going to think he's okay to continue playing. So I'm not surprised that he would say something like, I have no plans of retiring.
Yeah, it's a tough call because it's like, all right, like you said, 26, you think you're invincible. But when you get to your 40s, once that career is over, and you realize, maybe I should have called it quits a little sooner than what I did, because all those, hits to the helmet start to add up after a while. I wish Tua the best. That's Alabama right there, so I'm always rooting for him. But this is a lot of trauma to the head. So, I don't know if Tua maybe, if I'm the team, I want to keep him out a couple of weeks at least, just because of the history and what we've seen this past couple of years and how often he's been out with concussions. I sit him for a couple of weeks because if you are gonna have this kid long term, you can't just throw him right back to the wolves, after getting another concussion.
Yeah, I mean, the tricky part is they played on Thursday. Obviously, they didn't have to play this week. They play next week. So by next week, he's going to clear concussion protocol because he's going to have 10 days to get ready. I don't know if this should be the Dolphins' call anymore because the Dolphins were the ones who originally misdiagnosed him on the first concussion. And the Dolphins also have just given him a $200 million contract this offseason. So there's nobody in that building who's going to say, no, Tua shouldn't play. They going to want, Tua to play and obviously try to be successful under that new contract. It's a 4-year agreement that he just signed to. So it's not like we're talking about a guy who's at the end of his contract and it's like, if he's no longer here, then we just got to figure it out. It's like, no, there's a lot of money invested in Tua Tagovailoa moving forward. So I don't think it should be their call. I know the NFL can't really step in because each team is supposed to operate as its own entity. But there's got to be somebody, an independent doctor, somebody who should be able to speak up and really say, should Tua play at all this season and moving forward, or if he should call it quits? Because we know the team is never going to tell him, yep, it's cool if you walk away, knowing that there's so much guaranteed money left on that deal. And we know Tua, again, at 26 years old, is not going to want to walk away from the game in this way. This is the game he's played his whole life. So there's no way Tua wakes up tomorrow and say, you know what, I'm walking away from it. He's not going to do that.
Yeah.
It's got to be somebody independent that is not affiliated with the team, with the NFL, who can speak up and say this should be the legitimate game plan moving forward for Tua.
We're gonna see what the Dolphins do. in a couple of days. Guys, we're gonna get to Unc, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about Lil Wayne and the whole Super Bowl halftime show a little bit later on in the show. Don't worry, we're definitely gonna get to those comments, so keep them coming in. Shout out to Ron Charles, who says Jamar Chase buys $50 million insurance policy on himself for this season. I mean, the kid want to be protected. He want his family to be good. I guess, you know what I mean. He got the bag already, so financially he's gonna be good. But just in case, I mean, coming off of this, the Tua situation, where you see, how, quickly things can turn for you in your health. Same thing going back to DeMar Hamlin and what we saw with that Bills Chiefs game, a little bit over a season ago. It's this thing ain't guaranteed. You could take the wrong hit at any given time, and it could all be over. So I'm not mad at him for getting something that's going to take care of his family for life.
Yeah, I'm not mad at him for trying to protect himself. I don't know much about the details of the insurance policy. It does seem like a smart move. The only thing that seems odd about it is obviously he's under contract not only this season but next season. So he could have small ticky-tack injuries this year that could affect him next year. How would that affect his insurance policy? Let's say if he has a minor hamstring injury this year that lingers into next year, or a shoulder injury that lingers. And even though you may not have missed some significant time, does the policy click in? But ultimately, it is a smart move because he's protecting himself, knowing that that next contract isn't guaranteed if he is injured or not healthy.
Yeah. So he's trying to protect himself, his family,
yep.
Doing what he has to. I think it's very smart of him. Let's see. Thoughts on today's games that are final? Any upsets, or maybe you got them wrong in your pickings? Well, obviously, there's this one that I got wrong. You said I'm not wearing my Ravens hat this week. I don't know what the hell happened in that second half. I mean, I know what happened. Devontae Adams happened in that second half. I mean, he might have had 20 yards the first three quarters and had 100 yards that last quarter and a touchdown. And y'all see what happened, man. Raiders got the dub. My Ravens go down 0-2 to start the season. I'm not feeling it, but that was probably the one upset where it was like, yeah, that was the one that caught me off guard. For me, other than that, I don't think there was really any major upsets.
I think that.
Go ahead.
No. Finish your thought.
I was just gonna say, I guess unless you want to count the Cowboys, because I don't think anybody thought the States was gonna do what they did last week, this week to the Cowboys.
Well, I mean, you and I spoke before the game started, and I said I was a little weary of that line, just because the Cowboys' offense didn't play well last week. Mm-hmm. The Cowboys' defense is really what carried them last week. Their offense didn't play well, and it continued again this week. Their offense is struggling. So, did I think the Saints were going to put up 44 and blow them out like that? No, I didn't. But I did expect the Saints to at least keep it close. I thought the line at 6.5 was a little high. We spoke maybe like 30 minutes before kickoff. The Ravens one is the one that's the most shocking of the day, because the Ravens had 10 days to prepare for that matchup against the Raiders. And in our conversations earlier today, I also reminded you, they played against Gardner Minshew last year when he was with the Colts and he came into Baltimore. So they knew what his limitations were, and they knew how they could attack him and get pressure on him. So for him to have the second half he had, especially, like when you got that game under control and then you let the Raiders score 13 unanswered points in that game, that's probably the most shocking. And it's a disturbing trend from the Ravens, because this is one of the things that hurt them last year at the beginning of the season, where they were allowing teams to come back on them and win games and force overtime a couple of times last year. One of those games, the Colts game we were at, where they had the game under control and they allowed the Colts late in the game to get a couple scoring drives to force overtime and then win that game. But the Ravens, if you're a Super Bowl contender, to have 10 days to prepare for a Raiders team and lose like that, that's probably the most troubling loss of the day out of any team.
Yeah. The Chiefs loss I can accept. I can't accept you losing to a team that's probably not even going to be sniffing the playoffs when this thing is all said and done.
And the Chiefs, and speaking of the Chiefs, they just won on a last second field goal over the Bengals.
Well, that's good though, at least, because now at least the Chiefs and the Bengals and the Ravens are now 0-2 to start the season. So now at least that makes me feel a little bit better. But obviously we got to get our act together. I think we're starting to figure out what we're going to do with the running game because Derrick Henry, started to really perform. This game started to turn up a little bit more, but we got to really get to stay together. Mark Andrews finally kind of got back into the mix, which I think is going to be good for them moving forward, especially if you can get, their two tight ends, because likely played really well in the first game. If you get those two guys clicking with Lamar and then Zay Flowers with that running game, I think they'll be good. But they have to step it up. You can't afford to lose any more games like this. They're very lucky that the Chiefs came back and won this game on a field goal and stopped the Bengals from going up.
Well, I mean, I think the Ravens got their own issues. Their schedule isn't easy. It's one of the reasons why during the preseason I thought that they would be a playoff team, but that they might not win the division. Now that they're 0-2, they've got the Cowboys next week, who are a desperate team themselves. That's in Dallas. The shocking thing is that after that game, if the Ravens are 0-3, we're going to be stunned. But even if the Ravens at 1-2 and the Cowboys at 1-2, we're still going to be shocked because I don't think neither one of us saw both those teams struggling this early in the season. And then after that, they got the Bills, and then they got the Bengals. They get the Commanders, then they get the Buccaneers. So 4 out of their next 5 games are difficult games. And if the Ravens don't figure out this Derrick Henry thing and figure out how to implement him into their game plan a little better, they could find themselves in a tough spot in a few weeks, because that's not an easy slate of teams.
No, you're right. Shout out to Tyson. Tyson says thoughts on Kyler Murray for recent comments on Marvin Harrison. Not his job to feed targets to rookie Marvin Harrison Jr. You better make it your job to get the football to Marvin Harrison Jr., especially if you see the first half that he had today against the Rams. I think you want that every week. Marvin Harrison Jr. looked like who we all thought he was going to be coming into the NFL this season, and that was damn near unstoppable, untouchable. They could not do anything with him. And I know, listen, they ain't got Jalen Ramsey out there no more playing corner, but Marvin Harrison Jr., he looked like he's about to be, one of them ones at the wide receiver position, because he was all over the football field today. I'm just glad that, they stopped, passing when they did, because I'm playing against him in fantasy football. He already had 133 yards in that touchdown. I know two touchdowns already.
Touchdowns,
I couldn't afford for him to do nothing else, so I'm glad about that. But yeah, man, Marvin Harrison Jr. is who we thought he was.
The disturbing part about this comment though is this is why Kyler Murray isn't viewed as a leader, because any leader, any quarterback will be like, yeah, I need to get him the ball. That's our best playmaker, is it not? Why shouldn't I get him targets? Why shouldn't I try to get him the ball any way I can get him the ball? So for Kyler to say it's not my job to feed him targets, well, what's your job as the quarterback and the leader of this team? Your job is to get the ball to your best players, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is one of your best players. So Kyler, in the leadership department, he's got a lot to learn. I know he was trying to deflect some of the thoughts from last week, because that clip had kept going viral of Marvin Harrison Jr. being wide open and not getting a pass. But and as a leader, you got to step in and be like, no, I got to get the young man involved, and it's week 1. We're still working out the kinks, but don't worry, he's gonna get his targets. He's gonna get his catches. Not say it's not my job, because that is your job as a quarterback.
Yeah, you kind of try to distance yourself from the situation, and you should be, like you said, no, we're going to get him the football. Sometimes things don't always work out the way we would like, but our goal is to get him the football. He is our guy. Not to talk about the Giants, because they're still horrible, but if you look at how Daniel Jones was going to Malik Neighbors, when you have a wide receiver that's that guy, you better utilize him to the fullest extent. And we saw the game that Malik Neighbors had today. Shout out to Malik Neighbors, because he looked like he's going to be one of them ones as well. So big shout out to him.
Yeah.
Let me go to.
But shout out to Will Gordon. Malik Neighbors had a terrible drop late in that game that would have extended the drive for the Giants and given them a chance to win that game.
Well, no, he did what he was supposed to do so that we can bring our quarterback in next season. So he had a good game for me for fantasy football purposes, and then he made the right play at the end of that game so that we could go down 0-2 because all right, we trying to get Shador or Beck out of Georgia this coming season. So he did what we're supposed to do. All right, he's up on. Let's see, let me go. I'm gonna switch down. Go to most conferences. This game just ended, and they blew it. Is Joe Burrow actually no thorough?
Yeah, no thorough.
A flash in the pan. What have you done for us lately? Don't let this mediocre play distract you from my Chargers being 2-0.
This might be, Will, you my brother. You my man, 100 grand. This might be the most contradictory comment we've gotten in the chat. You can't call Joe Burrow all those things when Justin Herbert has been none of those things. Justin Herbert isn't a flash in the pan because Justin Herbert has not lived up to the hype. Joe Burrow has at least lived up to the hype. Joe Burrow has really been the only quarterback that can say I can go toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes, and it showed again today where they lose on a last-second field goal in Arrowhead. What other quarterback can say they've gone toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes every time they face him?
Let me and I need to ask Will this question. How many playoff wins does Justin Herbert have?
Me, you, and Justin Herbert are tied for the same amount of playoff wins.
Damn it. I see, and I knew it. We got to step our game up, Eric. We got to step our game up. Me and you got to definitely step our game up.
Will Gordon, and Justin Herbert are all tied for the same amount of playoff wins.
Yeah, if we all tied up,
yes,
we got to step our game up.
Yeah.
That man Joe Burrow's been to a Super Bowl, brother. We're not even going to play that game.
To me, the recent piling on of Joe Burrow pause has been because they 0-2 again, and they struggle the first 2 or 3 weeks every year. But again, 2 years ago, Joe Burrow was in the AFC Championship game, and he lost on the last-second field goal. 3 years ago, Joe Burrow was in the Super Bowl. Don't let the fact that last year he was injured and they didn't make the playoffs distract you for what Joe Burrow looked like the 2 seasons prior to that. Joe Burrow is the truth. And Joe Burrow, again, is the only guy that has gone toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes. Outside of that, I can't think of nobody else. I mean, Tom Brady, yeah, because Brady has a Super Bowl win and a playoff win over Mahomes. Other than that, there's nobody who could even say they're competing with Patrick Mahomes. Joe Burrow's the only guy.
Exactly. So yeah, let's see that. We can't even compare those guys. Like, we're not even gonna start to do that. But let me just run through the other games that were on tap this afternoon with early games. Seahawks, the Patriots actually look solid today. Like, they've been a solid team. Like, I figured the Patriots would be down and out, 0-2 starting the season off. They were actually had a chance to win this game today. Shout out to the Seahawks. Geno Smith and DK Metcalf, they got the job done. But the Patriots aren't as bad as I thought they were going to be.
I think Gerard Mayo, he has a really good understanding of his team. Run first offense, keep it close, let their defense work. And I mean, we'll see how long that can last, to be honest, because now that there's a little bit more film out there, we know what Jacoby Brissett is. Jacoby Brissett is a really good backup quarterback, but once you start having to play him too many games, the weaknesses start to show. So now that there's some more film and teams can game plan a little bit better, we'll see if they can kind of maintain this level. But they had a chance today. They definitely had a chance to win today and go 2-0, which would have probably been the most shocking 2-0 in the NFL.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. Also, what's going on with the Lions offense? Because they have not been clicking. Like what we saw from them last season, it's not like much has changed, but they're not firing on all cylinders like we used to. I know St. Brown had a good game today, but Jared Goff, the connection with him and Laporta hasn't really been there. But only 16 points today versus the Buccaneers and 2 interceptions, no touchdowns from Jared Goff. Like, what's going on?
Yeah, costly turnovers. They had some last week against the Rams, even though they survived. They have some this week against the Buccaneers and lost. That's really been their biggest issue. It's been the costly turnovers. They got to clean up their offensive game. I think they'll be fine long term. Gibbs, they trying to force feed him and they trying to make him the guy, but maybe they need to go back to more of a 50-50 split out of the backfield like they had last year.
I think so. I think that's the best option because I don't know. That's an Alabama guy, but I don't know if Jahmyr Gibbs is a every down back just yet. And when you have another running back like David Montgomery, I think they complement each other well because what David Montgomery can do on the ground, what he makes up for what Jahmyr Gibbs can, and then in the passing game, Jahmyr Gibbs makes up for what you don't get from David Montgomery. So I think they have a nice little 1-2 punch at running back, and they need to get back to that. So we'll see how they.
But you also know, Trip, they got to play with expectations now. See, last year was different when everybody was just excited that you were competitive. Now there's actual Super Bowl aspirations for that team. So you got to be damn near perfect every time you take the field. And when you struggle, these are the type of conversations we have. So I think ultimately they'll get right. They just got to get, again, start playing a cleaner game offensively. They had over 400 yards of offense today, though. They were moving the ball. They just had a couple costly turnovers.
I gotta go back to this next time. Y'all gonna tie Herbert's success to Brandon Staley. We now have an actual professional in the building running things with way less talent, and they're undefeated thus far. I'll take 2-0 8 days a week. First of all, what success? We just finished saying that the three of us have the same amount of playoff wins as Justin Herbert. So I'm confused when you say we're gonna tie his success to Brandon Staley because he has had no success in the NFL. Unless you say he plays well during the regular season and doesn't do anything after that. But other than that, no, he has no success. And
go ahead, Trip. Go ahead.
You're 2-0 right now, but who did you play?
Well, they beat
played
the
two non-playoff teams.
Yeah, they beat the Panthers today. They beat.
You should have did
right, and what they beat Vegas last week.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want to know this though, right? Because again, which one is it, Will? The previous statement was, "What have you done for me lately?" So Herbert hasn't done anything for anyone lately.
Yeah.
And then on the flip side, he's going to say, "You're going to tie his success to Brandon Staley." Last time I checked, when they were in the playoffs, Justin Herbert shit the bed. We're 20 minutes in, Trip. I think I can curse now. He shit the bed the whole second half of the game that they were up damn near 30 points on the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Right. He's been in the playoffs one time in his career. That's it. So let's not use the phrase, "What have you done for me lately?" when it comes to Joe Burrow, who's had actual playoff success. But then we're not going to use that same thinking and analogy when it comes to Justin Herbert.
Yeah, I don't think that.
Daniel Jones has more playoff wins than Justin Herbert.
That's a fact.
That's for the record.
Yes. Shout out to Brandon Chambers. I see your puppy question. We'll get to that one towards the end of the show. We could definitely talk about that. Eric, I ain't gonna hold you, man. Your Colts, they disappointed me today.
Well, I just used the phrase "shit the bed," right?
Yeah.
This is when that phrase "throw the whole damn baby away." The Colts throw the whole baby away. The defense coordinator was disgusting for waiting so long to blitz. Anthony Richardson today, even though he's a second-year player, technically in terms of playing time, he's a rookie because it's only like his sixth NFL game. Mm-hmm. He looked like a rookie today. He had some terrible throws. And I don't know what type of play calling we had because Jonathan Taylor had like 12 carries for 108 yards. I don't know why Jonathan Taylor wasn't getting more touches in that game.
Listen, I would have loved that.
I mean, he's running for damn near 9 yards a carry, and yet he ends the game with 12 carries in a game, mind you, in a game that we only gave up 16 points. So it's not like, we were down 3 touchdowns all game.
Yeah.
Like the game was pretty manageable all game, and the play calling was super shaky. We went for it on times at fourth down when I wondered why we're going for it on fourth down. We didn't on other times. We had a missed field goal, a couple terrible drop passes. But Anthony Richardson, 2 of those interceptions he threw. This is why last week that pass that he threw, that 6-yard pass, I didn't like that they kept showing the highlight of it because it was an amazing throw. He off his back foot, he airs it out for 60 yards, and everybody's like, it's one of the most amazing throws you see. And if you look at his first interceptions today, what he did off his back foot, tries to throw it into coverage and completely sails it over the receiver's head for an interception. Mm-hmm. Why? Because when those things go well, you start to think, I can just do this all the time as opposed to relying on true technique. But play calling and defense were terrible today for the Colts.
Yeah, I'm not sorry. I mean, I'm glad y'all tell a guy over 100 yards. But other than that, without Jordan Love there, they should have won. They should have got this W. They needed this W. Um, and they didn't.
Mhm.
They went to bed. That's pretty much it. Imani, we're gonna answer your pops questions in just a minute. All right, our top five Lakers of all time. We'll get to that in just a minute. Tell pops we said what up. Um, I just want to get one last game in, and then we'll switch over to basketball. Um, the 49ers. So they put Christian McCaffrey on the injured list, which means that he won't be able to play until I believe week 7. He's able to come back. I think it's if you want the
4
PvP,
weeks.
it's the
Yep.
first.
Yeah, 4 weeks.
Yeah. They lose today. To the Vikings. Should the 49ers be worried?
I was trying to figure out what went wrong today, and I don't think it was a trap game. I know they get the Rams next week, who are a division rival, but it shouldn't have been a trap game for them. I know it was a short week because they played Monday night. I don't think they should be worried. I just think that it was a lackadaisical performance. I think they played a team that was a little bit more motivated. I think maybe Sam Darnold wanted to prove something against the 49ers, who he was with that team last year, and obviously he couldn't beat out Brock Purdy for the starting job. So maybe it was a little bit of motivation in that end. But I don't think they should be worried. They got a lot of weapons. They got to figure out a way to get Debo a little bit more involved. But I think they're okay. And I think the drama that surrounded Brandon Ayuk is probably kind of played into the early part of the season. Once they settle in, they'll be fine. Though I still like them to win this division and be a legitimate Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, I still pick them after winning the division. And then once Christian McCaffrey comes back, then I think they'll be in great shape. This is a basketball question, but I'm gonna transition into basketball with this question because he can actually refer to football as well, sports in general.
Right.
Shout out to Imani. She says the handshake after game, should they do away with it? Because it's emotions after losing, right? You see coaches when they lose shake hands and keep looking ahead. Then I saw Caitlin Clark lose twice to Aces, and she didn't shake any hands. Well, shoot, who was it that had it was a big deal when they didn't shake hands? It was Tom Brady. I forget who he was playing and he didn't shake the hand and they made a big deal about it too. No, I mean it's just sportsmanship. At the end of the game, it's like, listen, I think the handshake after the game signifies it's nothing personal, it's just business. We need these wins just like you need these wins. We got the W today. Let's dap it up. I mean, I think that the biggest and most notable handshake snub would probably be the Pistons losing to the Bulls with Isaiah Thomas and those boys just walking off the court in the playoffs after getting sent home by MJ and Scotty. But no, I think it's just sportsmanship. I mean, but I'm personally, if you don't shake the opponent's hand, I don't have a problem with that. Like, I'm not gonna be one of those people that's gonna have this whole big issue because you didn't shake hands. No, I'm not. I don't care about that. If you want to shake hands, that's fine. If you don't, I'm okay with that too.
I mean, I wouldn't say they need to do away with it because there's no rule one way or the other. I think only hockey is the one that they require you to do the lineup, the handshake lineup at the end of the series. They don't do it game by game, but at the end of the series, you line up and ultimately you shake hands to pay respect to your opponent and respect for the game. So I'm okay with it either way. If you don't want to shake hands after the game, I completely understand because as Amani mentioned, there's a lot of emotion tied into that game. If you do want to shake hands after the game, I'm cool with that as well. I don't think it should be one way or the other. It should be a personal thing. The Pistons one to me always stands out though because they made it personal. I don't care what nobody says. They did make it personal because the whole team didn't walk off. It was only Isaiah, Bill. It was the main guys from the Pistons who walked off the court as there was still time in the game. Yeah. Mind you, remember, it wasn't like, the game's over. They did it during the game. And it was, again, their main guys, the leaders of that team, which to me lets me know that was personal that you did that because If it was truly like, oh, we're not going to shake their hand, then you walk off with the whole team. You don't just walk off with some guys. And that's what they did. Theirs was personal.
Yeah. Let me see. Oh, let me go to shout out to Ray Ray. Ray says RP the former NBA player Mitchell Wiggins, father of Andrew Wiggins. When he went on the 2 leaves of absence from the Warriors, one of those times for his father and then the BM drama. Rest in peace to Mitchell Wiggins. Definitely want to send our condolences out to Andrew Wiggins. We lost another member of the NBA alumni, so condolences.
Yeah, RIP, throw some prayers out to Andrew Wiggins and his family. And, unfortunately, this young man has been through a lot the last couple of years. We know, another personal drama that played out publicly, and now this. So I just hope that, he has the right people around him that can help him through this tough time.
Brandon Chambers, what's going on? Says, it's crazy the NBA season says preseason in less than a month. Right. It is crazy. But hey, listen, I'm excited. I got 2K, so I've been getting my reps in early.
I mean, when you root for a team that's expected to be competitive, you get excited for that. So yeah, I'm years past as a Knicks fan, I'd be like, oh yeah, I really don't care that the preseason and the season's right around the corner. But now I can't wait. Let's get to it.
Shout out to Hoopballer Scoop. Hoopballer Scoop says Michael Jordan's 2 seasons with the Wizards, he wasn't that high flyer like before. Of course, he lost some speed, but he had no problems getting his shots off against the 2000s players. Recently, Rasheed Wallace said Wizards MJ was more dangerous than the Bulls. Then DeMar said he studies Wizards Jordan. It's interesting the world looks at that time as a failure. I don't know about Wizards Jordan being better than Chicago MJ. I mean, that's 6-0 in the finals MJ, so I don't know about that. But I will say this from the basketball IQ standpoint, maybe he might have been better in that area just because you kind of have to approach the game from a different angle once you lose your athleticism. And a lot of MJ's game was predicated off of his athleticism and being able to jump out the gym. So maybe from that standpoint, but I mean, MJ didn't accomplish anything with the Wizards, so I don't know about him, that version being better or.
Well, I mean, I don't think they say. I think when they say more dangerous, it's because, and it's something that Carmelo recently said as well, was that he could effortlessly get to his spot. Like his IQ was on such a level that, like, you hear a lot of guys. Shout out to Will Gordon because this is one of the things he always talks about, like no wasted motion. And so the Wizards MJ was a guy who didn't have to blow by you. He just knew I can get to this spot with 2 or 3 dribbles, and I don't have to, exert too much energy to score on you. So he was more dangerous. I wouldn't say better because the best version of Mike is probably that first three-peat Mike, where the athleticism along with the skill set and IQ kind of all came together, and he probably was the most unstoppable guy the game had ever seen. But in terms of like where he was at in his career and still being able to score 20+ points a night at that age with the amount of miles he had on his body, yeah, he was still very dangerous. And I think the world looks at it as a failure, as Will Gordon says, because of what he had already accomplished. He had just had 2 back-to-back three-peats. So the world was still expecting high-level success, but the Wizards team wasn't ready for that. Even with Mike being good at that age, they weren't ready for that. The Wizards team, I say, wasn't ready for that level. So he was good individually. The team wasn't. That's why the world looks at it as a failure, because he wasn't still competing for championships.
Yeah, well, Imani says, wait, Trip, MJ was a 2-time NBA All-Star, scored 50 a few times, and 40 maybe 9 times. Had to shake you up. Well, first of all, I ain't gonna count the All-Star appearances because that's a popularity contest at that point.
No, but he still deserved to be in an All-Star game. It wasn't like he was, again, he was averaging over 20, like I think one Wizards year he was at 23 a game, the other one was around 21 a game. He was still, and we're talking late 90s basketball, when to score 20 points a game was still, that still puts you as a top 15 scorer in the league.
Yeah, but I don't think Jordan was a starter. He should have been a starter at that point for the All-Star team. He was a starter. Because remember, he wanted they wanted to give the spot to Vince, because Vince should have gotten something like that.
One of the years Vince should have been the starter, and he kind of referred to Mike. But Mike was still an all-star. Even if Mike would have been coming off the bench, Mike was still an all-star.
But he wasn't all NBA first team. It's not like when I say he didn't accomplish anything, I'm talking about comparison to his time in Chicago. Not that he didn't.
Again, look where he set the bar.
But if I'm comparing, because remember the question is about Washington Wizards MJ versus Chicago MJ, their resumes are far apart.
But again, look back at the question. It doesn't say that he was better. Rashid said he was more dangerous, and to give it more context, Rashid was talking about his offensive game.
But I don't even think he was more dangerous offensive. I mean,
again,
he's averaging 30 a game at Chicago.
But I'm saying give it the context. What they're talking about is where his IQ was at and how effortlessly he was able to score at that age, even though the ability to jump over guys was no longer there. Like he was scoring 20 plus points a game purely on mid-range.
Yeah.
Right? He wasn't trying to get to the basket the way he did as a Chicago Bull. He wasn't trying to elevate over guys' way. He was purely just killing you from the mid-range and could get 20 plus a night. That's what they were talking about. They were talking about, like I said, Melo has talked about it. DeMar talked about studying his game, especially now because DeMar is a mid-range assassin. They're talking about in terms of like his IQ was so great that he could kill you. You knew he wasn't going to try to get to the basket on you, but yet you couldn't stop him from getting to his spot. That's what made him dangerous. His IQ was on such a level that it was at the time, it was unseen. It was unheard of that somebody could beat you in that way.
Yeah, and even with all that said, I still don't think Washington Wizards MJ was more dangerous than Chicago MJ.
Okay.
Trip, the man was 39, 43 years off. Think about it. Yeah, and he still was not more dangerous to me than when he played in Chicago. Had he had some type of playoff success, maybe I'd be like, okay, but nah, man, I keep 6-0 all his MVPs came in Chicago. Like everything Jordan's legacy was built in Chicago. Yeah, it's great that he was able to still.
We're talking about two different things now, though, Trip.
At that level. But I even without the comment, I still don't think he was more dangerous in Washington than he was when he was in Chicago. So, oh my goodness! Don't start. Who pulled the scoop? Don't start, because then y'all gonna just blame us and say it's on us. I'm not gonna say nobody's name either, because I know where this is gonna go. We're gonna go off track for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then in the end, y'all gonna say it's always us with the nonsense. All right, let me see what else we got up here. I see a couple of WNBA questions I want to get to. What we have. You know what? Let me go to. Here we go. Right here. Ron Charles, Asia Wilson should be unanimous MVP. Should she? Yes, no debating. You could bang the gavel on that. There's nobody that even comes close right now to taking that crown from Asia Wilson. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Nothing to be said. She's the MVP.
I mean, you're asking should she? If she shouldn't, then who should? Nobody. Who deserves the vote over her would be my question.
Yeah, I don't think anybody should get the nod over Asia Wilson. Like, what are we talking about here? Dion Hoops page says, let me guess this. With Trip living in New York and your co-host and the cat that comes a lot living in DC. Well, Will doesn't live in DC anymore. He's from DC.
Will's from the area, but he doesn't live out here anymore.
Yeah. I bet between the three of y'all, you all haven't been to 3 total WNBA games this season. My question is, so why haven't y'all taken the kids to some games? Well, first of all, I was just at a game a couple weeks ago, and y'all know that because y'all send me messages telling me y'all saw me on TV. That's that's in the end of that. But in our defense, it ain't like we haven't been to any Knicks games or Nets games this past season as well. We didn't get to go to the season. We've been on our football kick. That's really what it is. And listen, as much as we're thriving, in our personal lives, tickets. We ain't gonna just going to all these games and doing all this stuff. We gotta strategically plan out. Like we got like right now we're working on going to Colts Giants later this season. We may possibly do a Baltimore game this year as well. So it's not a situation where we are not trying to support the ladies, but again, we haven't gone to basketball games period this past season. Actually, the only basketball games I've been to over the past year and a half are WNBA games.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Dion Who's page. He tried to take a shot at us right there. You see that? And like my man Trip said, he was sitting courtside. But for me, I have not been to a game, but it's not for lack of trying or not wanting to get to a game. The current schedule that I work kind of doesn't allow me to. So because like even I'm a big baseball fan, I haven't got to a baseball game this year just for that reason. It's a little difficult because I work a kind of a overnight / early morning shift. So it's tough for me to be at the game and then still get home and get enough time to rest for work. But that doesn't mean that we can't support just because we haven't been to the game. I mean, Dion Soupe, my question to you is how many games you went to this year?
And we're still watching the games. We're still watching the ladies hoop. But again, like listen, I've done 3 Yankee games this season. I've been to see the Liberty this season. We're gonna do another football game this season. Matter of fact, a year and a half ago, I was at a Miami Heat playoff game. So but listen, we do have other responsibilities. We can't just go to every game. As much as we would like to be at every sporting event all the time, that stuff does add up after a while. So if we're not going in on our press credentials, then we got to still space these things out. Right? We ain't rich this yet. We gonna get there, but right now we got to space things out. Ron said he been to 2 games. You been to 2 WNBA games? All right. But you wasn't the one to ask the question though. So
yeah,
that don't count. Let me see. Trip says you ain't want to go. So listen, I was trying to swindle my cousin into giving me more of her season tickets because she has 4 seasons. I was saying that those are her season tickets. So I was trying to swindle her out of giving me more tickets to go. But that's how how good the Liberty been, and she's such a big basketball fan. She wasn't trying to hear me getting another ticket from her. But I definitely was trying to go. Matter of fact, I said on the show a couple of months ago, early on, I told you guys when I called my connect, at the Barclays Center about tickets to the game, he was like, "Yo, they're all sold out." Because I wanted to get, I was trying to get seats for Angel Reese when she came to the Barclays Center, and I told you guys back then when I spoke to my guy, he was like, "Yo, they're sold out." And I'm not with sitting up I'm a grown man now, no disrespecting nobody, but I'm not trying to sit all the way up on the back wall and try to watch a basketball game. I just can't do that. So I've got a little bit of money right now. We can sit a little closer. So, it is what it is, though. You know what? Brianna Stewart is being overlooked. I think she's second in MVP. Brianna Stewart is playing well this season, but I'll probably say Brianna Stewart's probably top 2. But if we're talking about who deserves the MVP award this season, and there's no debate, it's Asia Wilson. Now the only difference is obviously New York has the best record in the WNBA right now. But statistically, Asia Wilson has played better than Brianna Stewart this season. I think the Aces are in 5th right now, if I'm not mistaken. I believe it's 5th place. But last year I thought there was a better, and obviously Brianna Stewart got the MVP last season. I thought there was a better case that you could make for Brianna Stewart as MVP. But this season, I don't think it's close.
I mean, she might be second, but again, the question that we answered earlier was, should Asia Wilson be unanimous MVP? And she should. And my rebuttal to that, if she's not unanimous, who else would you vote for as the MVP? Not who should be second in the race or who's in the conversation. Unanimous MVP means that you're saying without a doubt she is the clear-cut winner. So who else would you vote for? Now, who would you vote second for? Who would you vote for? It's Asia Wilson.
We'll say he's in Southeast Ohio, y'all, just so y'all know. He's not in DC no more. Y'all from New York, right? Y'all ever heard of Jelly Fam? Of course.
Hell yeah.
Y'all know where you be in the street ball circuits. A matter of fact, shout out to Mike Larry. I just bumped into Mike Larry yesterday at Melbourne's in Harlem. So big shout out to the family. One of the ballers, Javon, something's retired from hoops. He was just in college this past year. I think he didn't get drafted. So if I had to speculate, I think maybe he just feels like since he didn't get drafted, that's it. He kind of mentally he's just not there right now. So he's choosing to retire. But again, I can't speak for him. The only thing I do know is that he didn't get drafted this year, and then that decision came after that. So if I had to speculate, I would probably say it's because of that. Just mentally, it takes a toll. You work hard, you bust your butt, and then to not get drafted, it's a lot.
A lot of them young cats went on to have opportunities in college. Joel Santana, I believe his nephew was one of the creators of Jelly Fam as well. He's still on the street ball circuit as well, doing his thing. But they had a major impact on a generation of ballers that's current and that's relevant. So they definitely did their thing, and they brought a certain level of swag to the game that I thought was really cool because everybody focuses on the high flyers and the dunks, and they made it cool with the layup, with the finger roll, with the Jelly Fam. So they was dope for what they did.
Let me go back to shout out to Imani's pops. He wants to know who are the top 5 Lakers of all time to you. In order, I would say Magic is number 1. I would say Kareem is number 2. I would say Kobe is number 3. I would say Jerry West is number 4. And I would say Shaq is number 5. And everybody might be in, because I said put Shaq after Jerry West. But if we're talking about Lakers and his time with the Lakers, obviously, you know what I mean. He only won one ring, but for the Lakers, I have him ahead of Shaq.
I agree with your first 4. I wouldn't put Shaq over Elgin Baylor though. I think Elgin Baylor was a more accomplished Laker. Shaq, of course, by one of the most dominant players of all time. But in terms of just Lakers, I agree with everybody except Shaq. It's Magic, it's Kobe, it's Kareem, it's Jerry West, and it's Elgin Baylor for me.
Well, there you go, Pops. Hope you like our list. Matter of fact, Pops, put your list in the comments. Let us know who your top 5 Lakers are. Because, you watched them before we were watching them, I'm sure. So, who's your top 5 Lakers of all time? I'd like to know. Let me go back up top. I know we missed a couple of questions up top. Okay, let me see. I guess let's run through this college football stuff real quick, and then we'll talk about what he out here doing. Tyson, what up? Colorado beat CSU 28-9. Did you all see progress after the blowout? Here's the thing. One thing that I've come to know in sports is that when you get the beat down, bad losses like that, generally, teams tend to bounce back the following game. I think that's what we saw here. I still think Colorado has a long way to go. If they're going to make any type of noise, but big win for them and way to bounce back. Now they start the season 2-1.
I wasn't sure how they were going to adjust because their O-line and their running game has been a major issue, not just the first 2 games of this season before yesterday, but also last season. So I like what I saw from them. Their commitment to the run game was better. The offensive line blocking was better, which then led us to see the version of Shedeur that we all expect to be a top 5 NFL pick, which was able to carve up their defense. And there was a couple things in play here. One, it was the beatdown by Nebraska because they just really, that's what it was. They got outmanned in that game. But then also Colorado State did a lot of talking because they played Colorado so close last year. And that game was personal. So I shouldn't be, and we shouldn't be surprised that Colorado came ready to play because remember last year, Travis Hunter got knocked out of that game on a dirty hit.
Yes.
So there were things behind the scenes, you know, their coach making some comments about Dion. Their players this offseason making comments about we should have killed those guys. And those guys are more concerned with social media likes and follows than playing football. And then the Travis Hunter hit last year. So Colorado came out and seemed much more focused. And it probably was easier this week for Dion and his coaching staff to get them focused on the game plan. I want to see if this carries over, though, because their schedule does start to get tougher after this game.
And Shador Sanders refused to shake the hand of CSU QB after the game. Sanders told him, "You can't F with me." I'm glad he stood on business because he was making some comments on social media that Shador didn't like. And next, we going back to Imani's comment from earlier, but the handshake after the game, nah. See, in that situation where it's like, yo, when you was talking crazy, we just showed you what it was, and we didn't just win. We smoked y'all boots. You know what I mean? So I'm all for it. I love it. That when I saw that, I said, yeah, we need to bring him to New York. Because he gonna do well here in New York. With that, he definitely gonna do well.
I'm actually glad Shador didn't either, because like I said, this was personal. You know, y'all did a lot of talking. When I say y'all Colorado State, y'all did a lot of talking, but y'all still ain't acknowledged that was a dirty hit on Travis Hunter last year. Right? For all that talking the coach was doing about being a professional and being a grown man, accountability would be like, yo, that's not who we are. That doesn't represent our program. But instead, y'all focused on, we lost a close game, so we should have blew them out. All right, cool. So now y'all got y'all boot smoked in a game that wasn't close pretty much from the second quarter on. So Shador not shaking your hand, you got to live with it, deal with it. And you're not going to get your get back on Shador Travis Hunter next year because they won't be there. And the two guys who did the most talking, the quarterback and the receiver, they both claimed that they had big NIL deals to leave Colorado State. I don't know why they didn't take them big NIL deals. Because Colorado State ain't winning nothing. Colorado State ain't playing in no bowl games and no playoff matchups. So why wouldn't you have just taken it back?
And they probably ain't going to do much if they even get to the.
They claim the fame is losing to Colorado twice. Let's keep it a buck. We didn't know who that quarterback and receiver were before they ever played Colorado. Nobody knew who they were.
I still don't know.
I don't know their name. If we could walk past them down the street right now, we wouldn't know who they are. ESPN never ran any of y'all highlights. ESPN never talked about you guys. All they did was post your comments on their social media page to hype up the matchup that y'all just got blown out of.
Exactly. Let's go to Ray's comment. Now we can get to it, guys. We headed into the messy section of today's episode. First of all, what's y'all initial thoughts when Shannon Sharp's IG live went viral? You can't go live unless you press the button, right? Yes, that is true. My initial thoughts was Unc out here being Unc. That's why that's my favorite Unc. And I ain't mad at Shannon Sharp either. I know some people was in an uproar about Shannon Sharp, but I ain't mad at Unc for doing what he did. You know, albeit as embarrassing as it may have been, I'm not mad at him. It happens. Now I can't speculate on whether or not, because I know some, and we're gonna address all the comments, but some people feeling like it was staged, was purposely done. I don't know. I'm gonna keep it real with you. I don't know, but listen, I ain't ever gonna be mad, at fellow player like Unc out here, doing what he got to do. I can't be mad at that.
All right, so none of us were there in the room, right? So we don't know all that took place. But Trip, just stop me when I'm wrong, right? We do a live show every weekend, right? We do a live show every weekend. I've done lives on Facebook. Will Gordon and I used to do lives on Facebook, right? Mm-hmm. When you and I went to the Ravens game last year, did you not go on live as we were walking into the stadium? Right? How many buttons did you have to press to go live?
It's just one.
No, it's not just one. Because you can try to go live right now, and it's gonna ask you. You gotta. What I'm saying is one button, but you gotta confirm like 2 or 3 times.
Yes.
Before you go live. So that's why I don't believe that this was a mistake. Because it's one thing to butt dial somebody, because we know how easy that is. You could butt dial somebody. But to say, oh, I accidentally went live and the phone is conveniently placed right next to the bed facing upward. Nah, you was pressing buttons. You was pressing buttons.
Maybe he was trying to record. He was trying to make a little sex tape, and he accidentally went live.
That's possible. Maybe he was trying, and that was one of the things that Will Gordon had talked about on Friday. Maybe he was trying to get a little flick. Maybe Shorty caught him trying to get the flick. He tried to put the phone down real quick. But even still, you would have had to be on the Instagram page, because just going on Instagram doesn't make you live. You can click into Instagram, and then you got to go to your create button, your post button, and then you got to scroll over to live. Because when you go, like right now, Trip, if you pick up your phone, if you go to post, it's gonna think you want to do a regular post or a reel. You got to slide it over for it to say live, to then click live. So to me, I'm calling bullshit. This was all promo. This was all to get people talking. And I wouldn't be surprised if Shannon had already given people the heads up, like, yo, look, I'm going to do this. So when you hear from everybody else, you're going to know, like, this was all staged. And then we're going to, of course, he goes on the Nightcap show. He talks about it, right? Him and Ocho crack a bunch of jokes about it. He promotes the male enhancement drug that he does promote already on the show, but it all links now. There's merch that's tied to the live now.
Yeah. My question is, why would you risk your spot at ESPN? Because I know he's getting paid a lot of money to be on ESPN. Why would you risk your spot by doing something like that when you know they have all types of moral forces and they won't hesitate to pull pitch?
Well, that's why I made the statement that I think he had already given everybody a heads up. I think he had already given them a heads up, like, hey, this is, what a kind of like, what would happen if, right? And they probably already discussed. And then he kind of told on himself, because he said that one of the people that runs his social media was the one who called him and was like, you on live. So if you don't even run your social media, why would you have been on Instagram anyway?
Yeah.
Stephen A. Smith on his show even said, when he was defending Shannon, he goes, I can say this is a guy who doesn't know how to even work his social media. So why you would have been on social media then?
That's out here. That's what he out here doing.
Come on, bro. We know what it is. No, we know what it is, and it's cool. Listen, that's the era we live in. No, it's the era we live in, bro. This the type of ish they do for content and for clicks. It's all clickbait. Now again, he was the number one trending topic for like 2 days now.
Yeah,
for 2 days. I think it was all staged, bro.
We go to Pool's comment. Shout out to Pool. Pool says, remember the stylist dude that was always with Shannon at games and events? Well, he posted some shade, almost insinuating something, but how he become the ex-stylist so fast. I don't know. First of all,
Pooh, you gotta elaborate, Pooh, because I don't know what the ex-stylist posted. When you said almost insinuating something, what was he insinuating? And
is he insinuating that Shannon Sharpe is gay?
Either gay. What was he insinuating? Clarify that. And to say how he become the ex-stylist fast, that's easy. You get fired today, you the ex-stylist today. Yeah. That's how you become the ex-stylist. Like that don't take long. That's not like you working a federal job where there's like all this paperwork we got to file to get you up out of here. Shannon can fire you today and you the ex-stylist. That's it.
And it's over. But I'm not gonna speak on his sexuality, because if that man hasn't said that he's gay, and I haven't never heard him say he's gay, that I'm not gonna put on him, because one, I don't know him personally. Well, I don't know him personally. Two, I'm just I gotta go by what a person says, and until I see something otherwise, I'm not gonna say he's gay.
Yeah, I mean, again, I want clarification on what he was insinuating. To kind of throw that on his jacket, pause of like, hey, that's tough. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, Trip. I believe Shannon has at least a daughter, if not multiple kids. So there's a part of him at least that likes women in some form of,
I mean, that doesn't mean he can't be gay just because
he might dabble both ways, but to just outright say, hey, he's this.
Yeah, I'm not gonna do
I think that's a little tough to just kind of throw those allegations around about somebody without proof.
Yeah, it's unfair to put that on somebody. Like I said, when none of us know Shannon Sharp personally, I ain't never been nowhere with Shannon Sharp and seen him with a man or anything like that. So I'm not gonna speak on that. I'm not gonna put that on him. Let me go to Pooh's other comment here. Michael Irvin, Cam, and Mace for saying they ain't hear no clapping sound. LOL. Then Shannon goes on his night show bragging about how he was knee deep. Come on, the employees. Listen, I don't know. I can't tell you what another man does in the bedroom, so I don't know if the cheeks could have been clapping or not. With maybe he don't clap the cheeks like that. Maybe he don't do a little smack equipment and rub it down. I can't speak to that, so I don't know. But once it's out there, everybody's gonna have an opinion.
Yeah. I mean, shout out to Cam and Mason. They hilarious dudes. However he get down with his partner, that's on him. I think the whole thing is like it's staged and hilarious. And like you said too, like Shannon bragging about, I was knee deep in it. That kind of contradicts the start of the show when he's apologizing to everybody and it was embarrassing that my family had to see this thing, but then you bragging about your performance. It's like, so which one is it then? You embarrassed by what took place, so it's like, hey, it is what it is, bro. You know what I'm saying? Y'all just caught me in one of the moments. Pause. Y'all caught me, doing my thing type. So I don't think it was accidental, bro. I think it was staged the whole way.
Football Scoop says when ESPN decided not to fire Shannon Sharp for the fake sex shit, remember Paul Pierce's IG Live and he got the axe. Yeah, I do remember that, but Paul Pierce also had drugs in the video. Not that I feel like Mary Jane is a drug, but that's to be debated upon. And he, so that was a little bit different. Plus, they probably let rock with Paul Pierce because of the dumbass stuff he was saying on the air. He had a better career than Wade, so that's probably why they just let him go. They were probably tired of him anyways.
This is why I also think that him and some people at ESPN had spoke about what was going to take place. This is exactly why. Because there's no way you could tell me that ESPN wouldn't have at least put him on a temporary suspension until they figured it out. Because his IG Live would be found far more offensive than what Paul Pierce did. Right? Disney owns ESPN. So if y'all had a problem with Paul Pierce hanging around women who were in lingerie, then why the hell wouldn't you have a problem with Shannon Sharp having sex on IG Live? Because that's what he was doing, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that internet pornography? Why wouldn't y'all be more mad about that? There was a conversation that was had before all this took place.
They probably just don't like Paul Pierce. They wasn't trying to give him no type of chances.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see. Ron says, why Shannon Sharp have to stoop to this level to get a viral moment? He talking, he embarrassed, but then he saying he was deep in that thing. They don't hide the game. Again, I'm not gonna speak on.
That's what I just said, Ron. That's exactly what I was just saying. One moment you was embarrassed, then the next moment is you bragging about it. Like, which one is it?
Well, let me ask y'all this: what would dispel the gay rumors? Then, like, would you actually have to see him knee deep in some cutting? Like, would that make y'all like say, all right, he ain't gay no more? Like, I don't, because realistically, if a person was trying to do something to show that they were not homosexual, then I'm saying, like, even if you actually saw a man having sex with a woman, it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, how could you actually prove? Because they could be just doing that. They could have sex just for somebody to see and say they're not gay. So how would you really know if that person is gay or not? Like,
there's no way to know because there's a lot of men who've done that. There's a lot of men who paraded around with a girlfriend, had relationships with women, and then come out later on that they was gay. So even that, like, there's really no way to prove it. You know what I'm saying? Somebody would have to just be honest about, hey, this is my preference.
Yeah.
But I really think this was more about creating a viral moment. I truly believe that.
We go to Lene Chanel Jones. What up? Why uncap some girl fake moan on IG Live with no clapping sounds and he sounded like a big girl? He did though. He was breathing mad at me. I just thought it was more funny than anything. Hey, listen, girls fake moan all the time. So, it is what it is. Everybody said Shannon was fucking at that point. We talking about like he was. Listen, I don't know if he was in the guts or not. I don't know how his situation works. I don't speak for no other man in the bedroom, so I can't comment on that, on whether it was in the guts or they was playing around at the edge. I don't know. I can't speculate on that because I don't know no other man's bedroom stories. Okay. Oh man, let me see. So, come on, they're talking about he was knee deep. He's trying to.
I think the people have spoken, Trip. The people don't believe. They're not believing it.
But okay, let me just say this: it's not going to offend me if y'all think Shannon Sharp is gay. So, it is what it is. Let me see. Shannon has got addicted to the fame ever since that Cat Williams moment. He has been addicted. You know what? Now that I can definitely see. Because like they say, fame is a hell of a drug. So I can understand that. Football Scoop says, I think he posted under a Tasha K post. Basically, what I'm saying is that well, listen, whatever you are, whatever he is, I don't judge nobody. I really don't even care what you are in your personal life. That has nothing to do with your ability to do whatever job or whatever field you're in. One thing I got nothing to do with the other. So if he is, God bless, more power to him. Doesn't bother me either way.
That's a fact.
But do the video sound like he was in something? Listen, I don't judge the sounds of anybody else's love making because everybody's don't sound the same when they are clapping the cheeks, as y'all like to say, as you young folks like to say. I don't know. So some people might be quiet. Some people might make a lot of noise. Depending on the person that you with, that vibe is different. So, I don't know. Let me see. Will says, Bell Crawford was on Club Shay Shay a month ago. This suggested that I do the same thing. Well, he must have took his advice if that's the case. So why do you need to dispel the rumors? Just don't address it. I feel. So I do understand that as well because it's like if it's not true, then don't worry about it. If it don't apply, let it fly. That's a statement. But at the same time, I also understand like that in this business, especially as a black man, one of the last things that you want to be labeled if you're not that is homosexual. So I do understand the need for Shannon Sharp to say no, I'm not gay. Okay, it is what it is.
I mean, damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you don't address it, then people feel like, oh, he don't want to talk about it because he's hiding it. If he do talk about it, unless you believe him, you're gonna still say, he's just gonna say that because people ask him the question now. So it don't matter. At the end of the day, again, his sexual preference, until he speaks on it, or you get the answer you want, nobody's gonna be happy because he could say right now, I'm a fully heterosexual male, and there'll still be people like, he's just saying that for the cameras. So it doesn't matter.
Will says there was no visual with the shit. So yeah, just the audio. So it is what it is. Football School says, remember the one ball that played for Memphis that always mess with Bron? Oh, he's talking about what's this dude name?
Dylan Brooks.
There you go, Dylan
but
Brooks.
They said that was false though. They said he wasn't messing with the trans female. So I don't know how true that is. Because there was rumors that they was together, but then other people came out and was like, no, that wasn't her that he was with.
And that's the thing, man. People, and this is the shitty part about being in the public eye, right? Is people will throw things out, true or not, no proof or proof. They will still throw these things out. One, if they want to hurt you, and two, if they want to build their platform. So this kind of stuff happens all the time. Again, doesn't matter to me either way, whatever he is, gay, straight, I'm still a fan of him. You know what I'm saying? I'm still going to watch him on Nightcap. I'm still going to watch him on ESPN. If he was in the NFL, I'd still be watching him in the NFL. Doesn't matter. I'm not in that man's personal space, so it doesn't bother me. All I can go by is your character as a person. And if I think you're a good person, I'll rock with you. And that has nothing to do with your sexuality.
Yeah, it's unfortunately, we know that's how it works. The shock value is what grabs the headline. And sometimes the truth kind of just fall behind. Nobody cares about the truth because if it's not shocking enough, nobody cares. So the whole thing with Dylan Brooks, like I said, if it isn't true, nobody's saying, oh, it's not true. This is what we reference. We reference, oh, wasn't he would, even if it wasn't true. So it's unfortunate. Right. Same thing with Shannon Sharp. You know, if you feel that he's gay, that's the story you're gonna run with. It doesn't matter what he says, because that's what you think of him.
Exactly. Tyson says, not to start another topic, do you think any big stars in the NBA is gay or bi? People thought Chris Bosh was, the way he was swallowing champagne pause, but he got a bad one with kids. Exactly. It's like, and that's why I say, in this business, people will try to throw dirt on your name the more successful you get, right? And if you're talking about a black man, what's the quickest and most efficient way to throw dirt on a black man's name and distort their character? Put them in the midst of some gay rooms, because that's something that they'll know will break as a black man. That's how they've been known to break dudes down like that. Throw some gay rooms. That's it.
I want to say, first off, just because his wife is a very attractive woman does not mean he can't be gay. Because you look back, guys like Ricky Martin was running around with supermodels, some of the baddest joints in the world. Ricky Martin is full blown gay. Mm-hmm. Dwayne Wade, at one point, didn't we view Gabrielle Union as one of the most beautiful women in the world? How we feel about Dwayne Wade now, though? We look at him as he's kind of suspect. So just because his woman bad don't mean he can't be gay. That could be the cover. Now, that's not to say Chris Bosh is. I don't want to try to, throw that dirt on his name. But to the first part of the topic, honestly, I really don't care if any of the stars or mid-level guys or bench guys is gay or bi. What you do in your personal time, that's your business. I really don't care. Like, that to me has no impact on what you do as a player. Yeah. Right? And has no impact on what you do in your profession at all. Because that's just like saying, yo, you think any of the supervisors at the job is gay? I don't give a fuck. Like, to be honest, if they do their job and they do their job well, I don't care what they do behind closed doors, as long as they're not harming nobody, as long as they're not taking advantage of nobody. I really don't care.
Listen, the person that y'all probably could have said something about was Dennis Rodman, and he's still one of the most respected as far as players go ever. And
look at the caliber of women he was running around with in terms of looks.
Exactly.
In terms of looks, some of the baddest women on the planet.
During his peak years in the NBA, and after that, he had some of the baddest women on the planet.
Right, and I mean, people felt or questioned Prince. Some of the most beautiful women in the world was laying in Prince's bed.
But that's probably because of the assless chaps he used to be.
I mean, it's suspect what he was wearing. Don't get me wrong. It's suspect what he was wearing, but did it stop some of the baddest women in the world from getting in his bed every night? Not at all.
And you're absolutely right, Tyson. Rodman does not give a F about what anybody says. But again, that's Dennis Rodman. Everybody is not like that. Dennis Rodman had a lot of, I'll say, flamboyant behavior that he used to partake in, right? Mm-hmm. So, but for him, yeah, he has a I don't give a fuck type of attitude. But that's not everybody. Every person is not like that. Everybody can't accept a lie, or if they feel like if it's a lie being put on their name. Everybody just can't accept that and just say, "Oh, I don't care. I don't give a F." I'm around all the baddest joints. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. Everybody's not like that. So we can't just say, just because Dennis Rodman is, that's great, more power to him. But everybody in this world is not like that. And that's as a celebrity, regular person. Because as regular people, we probably get more dirt thrown on our names than any celebrity, just that it's not on that scale where the world knows about it.
Yeah.
Well, Dwight Howard was just playing. Actually, they dropped the case against Dwight Howard. There's no longer going on. It was like what 2 weeks ago. So
Guess what? Guess what? Even if Dwight Howard's gay, that stopped him from getting into the NBA Hall of Fame?
Nope, because he's gonna be a Hall of Famer.
It don't matter. It don't fucking matter. Like,
Yeah.
it don't matter. Like I said, as long as you ain't harming nobody, whatever you decide to do is what you decide to do.
Exactly. We're about to get to the Kendrick Lil Wayne stuff right now. I just got to go back up into the comments so I can find the first one because I don't want to miss anybody's comments. It's okay. Here we go. Yo, what's going on, my brother? All right. The biggest story in the rap world was Kendrick Lamar being selected over Lil Wayne. Most of the music game was heated and upset. Then Lil Wayne posted an emotional video on it. He wanted it badly. First of all, I wasn't even feeling that video. I'm just like that's way too emotional just because you didn't get picked to perform at the Super Bowl and they took like that I thought was too much over the top. I thought Nicki was over the top. I thought Birdman was over the top. Like, where were all of you mofos that wanted to come to Wayne's rescue and had so much to say and was taking shots at Jay-Z? Where was y'all at when Lil Wayne was $4 million in debt to the IRS and Hov came and bailed
Try
that
14 million. Try 14 million.
Where were y'all at then? Now everybody want to have Wayne back. Birdman, you stopped Wayne from putting out an album for damn near a decade when he was the hottest thing smoking.
Yep.
You might want to blame yourself because you stopped his momentum when he was the hottest thing smoking and he couldn't put out music for that whole time. So you probably more of a problem than anybody. So what are we talking about here? Everybody with the Jay-Z, he's hating. Why would he be hating on Lil Wayne? Matter of fact, and I gotta send you the clip. There's a clip from that first. Remember the meeting where he was with Roger Goodell and all of them people, and they were talking, and he specifically said, "Don't be surprised if you're a particular artist from a particular city where the Super Bowl is at, and it doesn't play out that way." He specifically spoke on that years ago. So now to come back and be this much in your feelings and be this emotional about it, when it's like, yo, he actually kind of already addressed this and said, don't be upset if that happens. Now it may happen where you could wind up performing at the Super Bowl when it's in your city, but it may not be that way. It may not work out that way.
This is a complete blown out of proportion situation created by social media. Because first, people were acting like it's the norm for an artist from the hometown, from the hosting city, is supposed to perform. It's only happened 2 times in the history of the Super Bowl. It's not like that's supposed to happen all the time. Because if that's the case, where was the outrage when Miami had a Super Bowl and there was no Miami artist? Where was the outrage when New York had a Super Bowl and there was no New York artist? Right? Where was all the outrage then? Secondly, this was put to a vote by a committee. Jay-Z does not get the final say-so. And if you don't believe me, look back at how they've selected in the past. They present 3 to 4 artists that they're viewing for the moment. They contact the 3 or 4 artists and let them know, obviously, you're in a finalist for it. And if you were to be picked, would you accept? And the reason I say that is because you can look back. Elliott Wilson actually just talked about this, where Drake was offered the Super Bowl 3 years ago and had told him initially, I wouldn't do it anyway. So they end up going with The Weeknd. Then when it's put up to the committee votes on it based on who they feel is the best fit and representation for the Super Bowl and the sponsors of the Super Bowl. Let's stop acting like Wayne lives a lifestyle that is conducive and that would be appealing to the sponsors. Ain't no fucking way Pepsi and other major sponsors want Lil Wayne on stage performing and representing their brand. Let's call it what it is. As a hip hop fan, we may love Wayne. I love Wayne as a fan of music. But in terms of business, he is not who you want representing the brand in that moment. And that's why Wayne wasn't going to get it. On top of that, let's stop acting like Kendrick isn't the hottest thing smoking right now. Like, Wayne is great. Wayne is a legend. Trip, what's the last Wayne song he put out?
That I remember was the Swiss Beats joint with the DMX in.
Okay.
That was over a year.
Wayne has not dropped music recently.
Yeah.
Right? the brand sponsors do not want Wayne up on stage in front of all these corporate sponsors singing Lollipop, or him bringing out Juvenile and they doing Back That Ass Up at the Super Bowl.
It's a family-friendly show. What don't y'all get? This is not a hip-hop concert. Now, I can understand if Jay-Z was putting on this big hip-hop gala in New Orleans and didn't ask Wayne to perform. This ain't hip-hop. This is football. Okay, let's be clear.
Like, but hold on. And I want to go ahead, Trip. My fault. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead, bro.
No, I'm just gonna say, first of all, the majority of the people that live in New Orleans are probably not even gonna be buying tickets to the Super Bowl. No,
thank you,
because the tickets are way too expensive anyway. That's so you can already X that out. But this is not hip hop. This is the Super Bowl. This is a lot of corporate. This is a lot of white. This is a lot of families. Wayne has, listen, that the reputation that he has, the things that he's gotten into, all of those things go into account. Like, people forget. Not that it's right, but we as minorities got to be twice as good as our counterparts. So any little thing that we do, they are going to hold it against us. You have been in jail, you got gun charge, you got this, you got that, all this stuff that's going on with you. Not to say that Kendrick is squeaky clean, but he kind of is. Like, I don't know about Kendrick getting into any type of trouble. I know the man got a Pulitzer Prize. I know that. But no, like you gotta understand. Like you said, Eric, he's the hottest thing in period right now. Artist period. The only artist that is probably competing with Kendrick right now is Taylor Swift. That is it. Kendrick has had the biggest 6 months that we have seen right now. He has had the biggest record over the last couple of months. Wayne has not dropped anything now, relevant realistically in a couple of years now. Maybe more than 5-6 years.
As you mentioned, and I was going to say that as well, I'm willing to bet 90% of that crowd won't even be from New Orleans. Yeah. Those will be fans and sponsors from other cities who fly in for the Super Bowl. That's first. Secondly, people, especially Nicki, the reason Nicki ended up making a big deal is because they wanted Wayne to headline so that then Wayne could control who he wanted to bring on stage with him. Because if you watch any Super Bowl, you know the halftime performer does not perform alone. They normally bring other artists up there. And so now that Kendrick's in the driver's seat, Kendrick gets to determine who he wants to bring up there. That's why I also didn't understand why this outrage, because it's very possible that Kendrick might say, nah, I want to bring Wayne up there and let Wayne do 2 or 3 songs. Nicki and them is mad, though, that Wayne ain't the headliner, because then Wayne don't get the control, like we're going to bring the whole Cash Money up there. Mm-hmm. And there are other elements that play into this. Nicki, all of them, they were super goofy in the way they went about that and making it about like somebody was hating on just because but that's the culture we live in now, Trip, right? Because it seems like when you don't agree with somebody, you got to be a hater. When you don't do something the way somebody wants you to do it, you must be a hater of them. Never mind that you might have other preferences or other people that you like or want to put in that position. We made it so much about Lil Wayne that we're not even celebrating the fact that Kendrick, who has the most streamed song, who's had the biggest impact on hip hop this year, gets the opportunity, because just 5 years ago, that would never happen. The biggest artist in hip hop wouldn't just get that shot at the Super Bowl. But we so mad that it's not who we want it to be, that then it turns into this hater culture. Oh, he got to be a hater. They doing Wayne wrong. Nobody's doing Wayne wrong. If anybody's doing Wayne wrong, y'all, like Trip said, y'all should be mad at Baby, because there's no reason that Wayne got that type of tax deficit with all the hits that he put out for Cash Money. There's no reason that Wayne shouldn't be living comfortably for decades to come, because he's the one who brought Nicki Minaj and Drake to mainstream hip hop fans. Wayne should be living comfortably. He shouldn't have to be doing these little small city tours to survive at this point. But y'all not mad at Birdman. Y'all mad at Jay-Z because Jay-Z ain't giving the halftime show.
Let me go to this question. I think this one is going to be good. What would be interesting is Lil Wayne is loyal to Drake, so does he say no because of his ties to Drake? My question, with that, Eric, is, so let's just say if this whole thing didn't come out and Kendrick's first thought was, you know what? Even though I don't fuck with Drake, but I don't got no issues with Wayne, let me hit up Wayne, see if he wants to come out. Now, does Wayne accept knowing that Drake and Kendrick got beef? And is Wayne a hater if he does accept knowing that Kendrick and Drake got beef?
If Kendrick reached out, I think Wayne should do it. Again, I think Wayne has been loyal to a fault to Cash Money, Young Money, because didn't Kendrick expose the fact that when Wayne went to jail, Drake was fucking on his girl?
Mhm.
Right? So if Wayne decides to be loyal, then that's on him to be loyal. But I think he should do it. I think he should do it. It's a moment. It's an opportunity in your city. And if you were that emotional, the way he presented himself in that video, then you don't have to headline it. I would just want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
Simple as that. But now, if he declines, that goes back to my point of you're just mad that you're not in the driver's seat. It has nothing to do with you wanting to be there, because any artist would be happy, like, fuck it, I'll take it. Even if you're telling me I get to do 3 or 4 songs, I'll do it just because I know what it means for my city and what it would mean for me to be there. But if you decline, then that's more about you wanted to be in the driver's seat so you could dictate it and then try to bring Cash Money along. And since it ain't happening, now you sour about it. So I would do it if I'm Wayne and if Kendrick reached out to him.
Miguel says the bad press I felt overshadowed Kendrick's moment from getting the Super Bowl, but I don't think no one was going at Kendrick at all. It's Jay. Well, yeah, because Kendrick didn't pick himself, and you know,
but Jay didn't. But Jay didn't like pick him either. Is my point.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. We know that those were the options. But you know, it definitely. I mean, like how realistically, how could you be mad at Kendrick for saying yes to performing at the halftime show? It wouldn't even matter. Now I get you want to be mad at home, even though to me it doesn't make any sense because again, you know, there's a lot of circumstances to the decision. A lot goes into that decision. But you know, one of the things I think with Fab, because Fab has spoke out and he said, you know, one, Jay is not the only person that makes a decision, but Jay is in the sense like the president, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got the House, you got the cabinet, you know, you got the Congress, you got the Senate who make a lot of these decisions, but it's the president that gets the blame because he's the face of the country. Jay-Z is the face, or at least the face that we know. Right? So yeah, so I people are gonna try to come back Jay, even though it really doesn't make sense in the situation. First of all, why would I hate on somebody and I gave them $14 million when they was in the jam and the people that's closest to him wouldn't even help him out of that jam? But now I'm a hater. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and like I said, it's goofy of people that are in the know, right? Because like you said, you hear one instance from Fab, then you hear the other side with Nicki. Nicki knows how these things play out, right? Nicki has performed at major sporting events. So she knows that this is not a singular person who decides that. There is this collective of sponsors and people with the influence to say, all right, this is who we should go with. So to make it seem like, oh, Jay is a hater, I think is wrong. You know Jay's not going to respond to you, but you create this media storm that people start to run with. I see Kyrie said, I think Jay has been sneaky behind the scenes. Kyrie, tell me why you think he's been sneaky. And don't tell me what somebody else said, because you said you think he's been sneaky. So I would like to know, how do you feel he's been sneaky? Because I feel like Jay has done the job of trying to create the platform for artists. Jay-Z and Roc Nation, from the time they've taken over, it's been hip-hop artists for every Super Bowl. That was never the case prior to Jay-Z. So in what way do you feel he's been sneaky?
You know, and for Nicki, don't be surprised when you don't get no more Beyonce features.
I mean, I think Nicki's at a point. I think financially Nicki's comfortable, but Nicki's at a point, I think, where she's burned a lot of bridges within the genre, because you see a lot of people don't really kind of go towards her the way they don't gravitate towards her as they once did. And
she's also crazy. Someone who has been accused of doing a lot of backdoor shady business, blackballing people, blackballing other artists, other females. So
herself, I just find it crazy. I just find it crazy that, you know, Nicki was super vocal about Wayne not getting picked, and throwing the type of grenade she threw at Jay. We still ain't never heard Nicki address the fact that her brother's a pedophile.
What about her husband?
And that her husband's a convicted rapist.
Oh, okay.
So it's I don't even want to use the word ironic. I'm just let's call a spade a spade. Like, there's real topics that you have never even addressed but something that had nothing to do with you. You threw these grenades out there to create the social media firestorm.
Tyson says, so would you all have picked Lil Wayne? No, I wouldn't have picked Lil Wayne as the headline. It is, at the end of the day, I'm a businessman, first and foremost. Before anything else, before we sit down and do this show, before anything else, I'm a businessman. I understand how business works. Kendrick Lamar is the biggest artist right now. He's a universal artist. He's a family-friendly artist. And this is the Super Bowl. I would have picked Kendrick too, right now. If I had if for Kendrick, yeah, it would have been dope to say, yo, let me holler at Wayne and see if Wayne wants to do it, or let me holler at Master P. Well, shout out to Master P, because you don't see Master P up here crying because ain't nobody else.
Thank you, and that's another thing too. We act like P ain't paved the way for everybody in New Orleans. But he didn't get it.
That's what it is. So, no, to answer your question, no, I would not have picked Lil Wayne to be the headliner.
I think I'll say this, Tyson, from a nostalgic standpoint, I get it, and I would have liked to see Wayne. I still would like to see Wayne up on the stage, but from a business standpoint, I understand why it doesn't make sense, because again, the artist on that stage has to be a representation of all those brands that are affiliated with the Super Bowl, and Middle America ain't trying to see Wayne up there with a double cup, forgetting his words, because there's been footage of him forgetting the lyrics to his songs. That's not the image that they want.
Listen, and on top of that, for everybody, all the the New Orleans, strong, Wayne ain't even a damn Saints fan. He don't even support y'all own team. Wayne is the Packers fan. So come on, man, knock it off. Hoopball Scoop says, so does y'all like Kendrick's new song he released? I haven't heard the new song, but that still wouldn't change my opinion on whether or not he should be the headliner of TV. But again, and the thing that's crazy for me, Eric, is I'm not even a Kendrick fan. But this past week, I've been going so hard trying to defend Kendrick and why he should be on that Super Bowl. Like, I'm a damn Kendrick fan. I'm not even a Kendrick fan. And I've been going hard all week defending this man and saying why he deserves to be the headliner at Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Let's see. Football Scoop says, do y'all think Jay is messy or devilish behind the scenes? M said Jay-Z didn't want 50 Cent on the Super Bowl, but M said nah, or he won't perform. Okay, the difference between 50 Cent and Lil Wayne is they've been going back and forth, taking shots for years, for decades. We can go all the way back to I'm about $1. What the fuck is 50 Cent? So they've been going at it for years. 50 is constantly taking shots at home. So I can understand that. Wayne and Jay-Z have a good relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, listen, any man stop you from whatever you would have happened to you had you not had that $14 million to pay the IRS, whatever that would have been jail time or whatever other consequences come along with that. All right, they're actually cool. Those are two different things. 50 Cent, yeah, I can understand. They got actual issues. Now, I don't know about actual issues, but 50's always talking about Hov. He's always trying to take shots. So that's two different situations.
Well, I don't think you can compare the 50 situation to the Wayne situation because, as I mentioned, 50 was not the headliner. He was an additional act. And Jay saying no, like you said, it might have gone back to like their back and forths in the past. Maybe Jay just felt like he wasn't a fit for what they was trying to do because, again, it was really supposed to be centered around Dre and Snoop, and then it extended out and they added Mary J, they added M, they added 50. So there could have been a number of reasons. It could have been personal, it could have been business. I don't think that makes you messy or devilish because, again, we don't know the context of that conversation. There's plenty of times that conversations you guys don't know that Trip and I have about guests on the show. And that don't mean it's messy. That might just be like, yo, it doesn't fit what we're trying to do right now. Just like there's times where we talk about going places to film stuff and be like, yo, that just doesn't fit what we're trying to do right now. So I don't think that that's messy or devilish because, again, that's business. If something doesn't make sense to you or you feel like that's not the fit for right now, you have every right in your opinion of like, I just don't see it.
So Jay took it personal design 50. I don't know if he took it personal or not. What I'm saying is the difference between Wayne and 50 is that Jay and 50 have actually had back and forth. They didn't take shots at each other. 50 is constantly antagonizing him. He's they trying to throw him in the mix with the Diddy stuff that's been going on. So that, if you told me Jay didn't want 50 because he has a personal issue with 50, I could understand that. I can't accept that as a reason behind Jay not picking Wayne, because they don't have those issues. They're actually really cool. So it's two completely different things.
Yeah, like I said, I don't know if it was personal, him saying that he didn't want 50 a part of the halftime show. Again, nobody's really going to know why he didn't want 50, because it could have, like I said, it could have just been like, hey, he doesn't fit what we're trying to do. It could have been like Trip said, we had an issue in the past, so why allow him to be part of it now? Who knows? But just because he didn't, my whole take on it is just because he didn't want a part of it does not mean it was personal. It could have been strictly business as to why he felt he didn't want 50 a part of the halftime show.
Tyson says Jay-Z and Nicki Minaj have behind the scenes shit with Rock Nation, and Jay kind of putting some blackball on her. First of all, nobody needs to blackball Nicki Minaj from anything, because people don't rock with her because of her attitude. One,
right.
And two, if you I don't know about anybody saying Jay-Z was trying to blackball Nicki behind the scenes. I've never heard that before. Well, I have heard Remy say that Nicki was trying to blackball her though.
Oh, it's a fact, because Remy and Cardi have talked about instances where Nicki used her influence to stop what they were doing. I would like to know, what did Jay-Z ever blackball? What opportunity has Nicki Minaj ever been blackballed from? Because Nicki Minaj has been an international star for over 10 years now.
She's been the number one female in the game. So
right. So what has she been blackballed from?
Kyrie says Drake will be heard if Wayne got on stage with Kendrick. Yeah, because he's emotional. Both of them is emotional though. So. But yeah, I mean, if I'm Drake though, I would feel away though too.
I saw that interview when Wayne talked about Drake fucking on his girl. Wayne was hurt by that too.
There you go. You know what I'm saying? We're humans, so yeah. At the end of the day, now if Eric went on somebody's platform with somebody that I got a direct beef with, yeah, I'm gonna feel some type of way. And maybe I would expect him to feel away too. But you know what I'm saying? So I can understand that because we're humans. I think Jay has. We trust that one already. So should Kendrick bring out more New Orleans artists besides Lil Wayne? See, all right. So here's my thing, right? So is it hating if Kendrick called Master P and says, "Yo, I want you to pull up," and he doesn't call one? Let's just say Kendrick called Master P and not Wayne. Is he hating, or is he just paying homage to someone who's also a legend from New Orleans?
Right. I think it would be dope if Kendrick brought out New Orleans artists for the performance and let them get a song or two in. I think it would be special if it was Wayne. I think it would have been special even before this. But the problem is now that there's been so much drama around the topic that now if you bring out Wayne, you know what the comments become. Oh, he only did that because everybody was bitching and moaning.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So then that ruins the moment as well. So now it's like if you bring Wayne out, then it becomes, oh, you only did it because. But I think it would be dope if he brought out other artists.
See, I would have loved if Kendrick brought out Wayne and Master P. For me, I think that would have been an ideal situation because you got to give Master P his credit for when he started. Because remember, before there was Cash Money and they were doing their numbers, P was
no limit.
It was no limit. He started that whole thing, and Master P got some big records. I would love to hear him make him say at the Super Bowl. You know what I mean? So, and what would be wrong with that? But we'll see. We'll see if who Kendrick brings out. Maybe he still does. We don't know yet. Let me see. Nicki Minaj is on a world tour right now. So Sanchez, what do Nicki has to say about her husband and brother? That's like you had a brother that that rap that's him, not you, but that's Tyson post about Jay-Z and Nick. Well, I mean, we've known about this for a couple of years now. We known about this before she was on World Tour, and she has not addressed it. So she had plenty of time, but she got time for this. So that obviously she had time for this. Then the tour wasn't stopping her from speaking up and talking about that situation.
My whole reference about her speaking on her brother and her husband is because those have been questions that have been posed to her several times, even on her lives when she's been on IG Live. So for her to go out of her way to talk about Wayne and feel like she's defending Wayne, right? Because that's what she's doing. Wayne not being a part of the halftime show has absolutely nothing to do with Nicki Minaj. Nothing to do with her. But she's going out her way to speak on it. So why have you never gone out of your way to address the comments and questions about your brother and your husband? Why? That was my whole thing. Is like if you so opinionated about things that have nothing to do with you, why won't you ever talk about the things that do have something to do with you? Because she paid for her brother's defense team in the rape case, and she was in court during the rape case. And yet on her live, people have asked her several times about her brother, and she will ignore those questions. So why won't you address
you out of her live?
Right? She'll block you or kick you out the live. So my thing is, if why wouldn't you answer things that are being asked directly to you that involve you directly, but yet you went out of your way to stir up the drama about something that had nothing to do with you? Whether Wayne got the halftime show or not, what the hell did that have to do with Nicki Minaj? Nothing. Because just because Wayne would have got it does not mean that Nicki would have been a part of it anyway. But the problem is Nicki and Baby assumed that if Wayne was going to be the headliner, he was going to bring Cash Money and Young Money with him. Right. That's why they're so mad. It has nothing to do with Kendrick or anything. It's that they assume that Wayne was going to get it, so therefore we going to get it.
Yeah, exactly. Here go Baby trying to eat off of Wayne again. Carrie says, man, this is all in fun. All our feelings just debate.
Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, that's
always in fun. We love you guys. We love the fact that you guys are so interactive with us. We appreciate every comment that comes in. Trust us. Eric and I talk about this all the time. Like how much you guys have re-energized us over this past year, with just being interactive with us in the back and forth dialogue that we share. So we encourage you guys always to continue to drop those comments in. I'm gonna take the last comment from Brandon Chambers. I told him we would get to it at the end of the show. Why isn't Puffy Combs in prison yet? Recently he had to pay some dude $100 million. I don't think he paid him the $100 million yet. And I don't think he's officially been charged yet, because the thing is, with the Cassie situation, which is probably the thing that's been the most damning of that video that came out of about him and Cassie, the statute of limitations was up on that, so he couldn't have been charged for that. So I don't know if it's a situation where they're going through evidence, building a case. I don't know why. I don't know. I'm sure we're going to be hearing more though with the next couple of weeks about it. And if we do hear something first, because since we do have some connections to the inner circles that would know about these type of things, we'll definitely update you. But I can't say as of now why he's not in prison.
So the second part of that, he didn't pay the dude. That's a tricky one because the dude filed the motion in court. Diddy never showed up, so the judge sided with him. There was never ever any evidence posed either way. And the guy who actually sued him is in jail himself. So it's possible that whole situation gets thrown out once Diddy's lawyers appeal it, and then they force the guy to show proof. So the guy pretty much won on a technicality because Puff never showed up to court, which was slick. Trip, I think I'm gonna file a lawsuit next week and see if I get so lucky. But in terms of Puff not being in jail, it's tricky because I don't think they have enough evidence. And I've said this for a while, and this is not to defend Puff, but normally when the feds go into your home, they're just looking for like that last little bit of evidence. With all the things they took out of his home, the fact that he hasn't even been charged yet with a crime leads me to believe that they have a dead case. They don't have anything. And from some of the things I've read, they only really raided his home based off of the lawsuit. Where again, sex trafficking becomes very tricky because we know how the music game works. You got groupies that go on the road with you. They go city to city. They might sleep with you, sleep with your man. technically, by the letter of the law, that's sex trafficking. If I met you in New York and you come all the way down to Miami with me, and then me and Trip have sex with you, you can run back and say he took me on the road to have sex with his friend. That's sex trafficking. So that's where it gets tricky. I just don't think they got enough evidence.
But that's why I don't be flying nobody out. If I'm
nah.
I'm gonna be in the state with you.
Where it's at, yeah.
We ain't gonna cross no state line. But that's neither here.
That's that's what it is. Now you're right. You got to buy your own plane ticket. Like, you know what I'm saying? We got to cover all the bases. But
it definitely this whole situation definitely helped us out, because now if a chick try to hit us with the open, you gonna book my flight? No, because I'm not trying to go to jail.
I can't.
So I can't do that. So you gonna have to book your own flight with your own money. I'll take you to dinner when you get here, but that's all the best I can do.
Yeah. So then that's that part. I got a good answer for this one too, for Will Gordon too. I like this statement.
Weezy is best with Skip Bayless, karma. Well, Skip Bayless out here doing bad too. So.
Well, it's not. That's not the only karma. How quickly we forget when Lil Wayne said he don't see color and he don't believe racism exists in this country. Right? But now everyone of color is trying to defend Lil Wayne. So it's ironic, he didn't see color, none of those things before, but yet now he wants the support from the people who were fighting for those injustices. So
listen, man, Eric, we're getting ready to wrap things up. Give me your pick for tonight's game. I know we about damn near into the game already started.
Yeah. We into the game. Well, my pick on Friday was the Texans. They were -6.5. Even though it was a tough week 2, the underdogs really killed me this week. But I did have the Texans on Friday. You can look back at the footage. So I'm staying with that pick. And right now it's looking good there in the second quarter. The Texans are up 7 points right now. Shout out to all the supporters as always, man. We greatly appreciate you guys. You guys rocking with us on Sunday night. You guys be heading over to the Friday night live as well. So we greatly appreciate it. Shout out to Kyrie. As Kyrie said, it's never personal, bro. It's always fun. It's always entertaining. It's always about the debate, which we greatly appreciate as well, man. So I hope you guys had a great weekend and stay safe out there. And we look forward to engaging with you guys again next week.
That's a fact. I'm going to just take my final thought to shout out Berlinga. Great fight. Obviously, Canelo got the W. He came in with the experience, but Berlinga showed that, one, he got the heart of a champion. 2, he got the heart of a New Yorker, because he ain't ever quit. He ain't never stopped. He kept going at Canelo, and he actually looked better against Canelo than Canelo's maybe last 5 opponents.
Berlinga was good in that fight. I know people gonna clown, he lost. Listen, he fought Canelo tougher than a lot more established guys. Charlo didn't fight him that well. Munguia didn't fight him that well. Billy Joe Saunders got his eye socket broke. Caleb Plant got put to sleep. Like, these was all guys. Caleb Plant was one of the big guys talking about Berlinga, and Berlinga fought Canelo better than he did. Like, he lasted with him for 12 rounds. And like you said, the experience won the night for Canelo. That's why Canelo is one of the all-time greats. And as I said to you earlier, Trip, and you and I, we agreed on this. No matter how you felt about Berlinga losing, Berlinga, as an inexperienced fighter, he fought Canelo better than when Canelo fought Floyd. Same situation, an older veteran fighter against a young guy up and coming. Berlinga, his fight with Canelo was much closer than Canelo's with Floyd. That shows you that Berlinga's on the right track.
Yeah, Anika says, who is the best? If you're talking about who's the best boxer right now, I would probably, I'll give you 3 names right now who I think are the 3 best right now. And that would be Canelo, that would be Terrence Crawford, and that would be Gervonta Tank Davis. I think those are the 3 premier boxers right now.
You said Canelo, Crawford, Tank?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to overlook Usyk as the heavyweight champ. It's tough. I would agree with the 3 that you said. Canelo, Crawford, Tank, in any particular order, but I think Usyk deserves to be in the conversation as well.
Now, you know what? Actually, let me throw one more name out there. I got to say this. Shout out to the GOAT. The GOAT is actually, she might be number 1.
She was at ringside yesterday. I saw over there.
Yeah, she was with Shushu.
And there's that meme circulating. See, this is why you got to watch who you do business with. Terrence Crawford was over there at the UFC event because he's in bed with Ryder Season and them. And they didn't even have to respect. They called him Kendrick Lamar on the telecast, bro.
Oh my goodness, bro! When we bust
that's why you got to watch who you do business with, because there ain't no reason that Terrence Crawford, who is the most recognized fighter in the world, one of the pound for pound best fighters in the world, y'all confusing him with Kendrick Lamar.
Oh, she wants us to pick one. All right, if we got to pick one right now, I'm gonna say Terrence Crawford. If I got to narrow it down to just one, I'll say Terrence Crawford. The reason I say that is because he's undefeated. Even though Tank's undefeated too, but Terrence Crawford has more fights than Tank. So that's why I'm gonna say if you force me to pick one, I'm gonna say Terrence Crawford.
I'm gonna say Canelo. I know Canelo has losses, obviously, but I'm gonna say Canelo because there is nobody walking the face of the earth between the weight of 147 pounds and 175 pounds who could beat Canelo Alvarez. Like I said, he lost to Floyd. Floyd is arguably the greatest fighter of his era, and he lost to Bivol at light heavyweight. But like I said, from 175 all the way down to 147, there is nobody that can beat Canelo Alvarez.
There's a guy that he probably gonna disagree with you now, whether or not it's true or not. He's probably gonna be fighting Canelo, so hopefully he can be fighting Canelo soon. He might disagree with you.
I like Benavidez. I like Benavidez, but I stand on what I said. Pause.
I got you. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of you guys. Thank you all so much for rocking with us tonight. Make sure you guys are following us on all our social media. Y'all see the Facebook there, facebook.com/Real Fans Real Talk. Of course, the Twitter, Instagram @Real Fan Talk. And make sure you guys subscribe to that YouTube channel, youtube.com/For the Fans Productions. And don't worry if you're not in New York City on Thursday nights and you can't watch us on Verizon 43 from 8 to 9 p.m., you can still click that website, realfansrealtalk.com, hit the red button on the homepage, and you can watch from anywhere in the world. With that being said, for myself, Trip Yung, my brother, my co-host, Eric Sanchez, a.k.a. Legend in Two Games, we up out of here. Peace.